In today's episode, we're going to be reacting to some of the craziest and strangest videos that I could find on TikTok. Let's get into it.
Kim, it's a friend of mine, Kim. And I know this thing was alive, and you'll see in a second. You see these different textures around the eyes, around the lips, and like the creases and so forth, up on the head and in the back. I'll show you. This was a fluted-headed creature. Now, these are not great shots, but I worked with her for quite a bit, and I looked at it very carefully. I know what it is. All right, so that's the head. Now, this is the back of the head, where it comes out fluted. You see this? The head's cracked here. There's red blood coming out of it. All right, there's the carapace that comes over. Now, did this thing expand? I would say probably. And make like a cobra head. I don't know. But I do see the crack right there. There's no question that's cracked open, and that is literally red blood coming out of here.
It does look like a crack.
And she keeps it outside because she's scared of it. I don't necessarily blame her. Now, this is a real close-up of the eye, but you could tell, I understand different textures. And this had like some kind of like, almost like a beak. You see how this comes down here? And it looks to me a little bit of a different texture than this. I could be wrong, it could be the same, it could be just the lighting. But my buddy here, Caesar Augustus, this is a little bit different than this. This is a beak or a bill or whatever they call them on geese. Yeah, I think this is a goose. If anybody can explain that feather pattern, this is what, I haven't had anybody tell me what has a big, good size. I think this is a waterfowl. And he's got that flappy underneath stuff that they have. And there's his feathers. And that's where his neck would have been. Now, this is, again, nucleophilic invasion and substitution. You won't see this as being any different. All you see is the coating is different, which is, you can see the texture in there when you look. You can see that's his throat, if you get it in the right highlights. And that's the vein, the artery. There's the vein. Veins plug off. The throat just clogs up. It just gets transitioned into basalts primarily. Stone, it depends on where it was. You got limestone, basalts, you got mudstone, you got all kinds of stuff. And bones and everything. And your cartilage and everything gets transitioned at the same time and turns to the same material. That's called nucleophilic substitution. It invades and substitutes, and it happens with these transition metals in most cases, and then you get a lot of colorization.
I've had a lot of people tell me to check out Mud Fossil University since the last couple of videos that I've seen this. It is really interesting, and some of the points that this guy makes is really valid. My only complaint with this specific video and him saying that that serpent head could potentially be a mud fossil is I wish that there was just better images of it, because truly it's very blurry. It just looks like a stone carving or a wood carving to me. But his explanations on everything are awesome.
So I'm going to make this short, simple, and sweet. You're not going to catch me swimming in any water that's deep. Why? This is why. What is that? Can someone explain to me what that is? Some deep sea fishermen went scouring the ocean and found this alleged alien fish. You have to see the video. It's incredibly crazy. Check it out. Take a look at that. What the heck is that? Someone explain to me what the heck that is. Now, allegedly, they say aliens live in the water. Allegedly. I say allegedly. What is this? Is that an alien? Just look at the face on it.
Doubt it's
it
an
sure
alien.
Doesn't look like a fish to me. Does it look like a fish to you?
Kind of looks like a puffer fish.
Even the head or skull or whatever you want to call that looks like it has a tail growing out of the back of it.
It's just really inflated.
Now, once again, I use the term allegedly because allegedly we have not grasped the concept of what lives under the ocean. We have not been able to even go that far and explore everything under the ocean. So I would love your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is an alien? Or
Nah.
do you think it's just some, I don't know, mutant fish? What are your thoughts? Let me know.
I have no clue what type of fish it is. The only thing it looks like is a weird puffer fish, but it don't even look like a puffer fish. If anyone has any information on what that could be, let me know in the comments, please.
Cryptid or hoax, this strange creature will creep you out. A man was out filming near a remote forested area when he noticed something bizarre in the distance. At first it appeared to be a large, hunched-over creature moving strangely through the trees. It didn't walk like a person, it lurched. As he zoomed in, the shape became clearer, but it only raised more questions. Some say it resembles a
I can't really watch it with all the flashing and going by. I'm not gonna finish out this video because it's just doing too much, but from the little bit that I could see, it kind of looked like just someone holding a bunch of leaves or something and walking away. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
I think I told you this, but my mother's, like, I think aunt, she was able to, like, predict the future and everything, right?
Oh, yeah?
So she predicted, like, the Philippine Revolution.
What? You told me this?
I told you this, no?
Oh, I think you did.
So pretty much, I'll just rehash it quickly.
Yeah.
So she was invited to the presidential, like, house, and the, what do you call it, the first lady, she wanted to get, like, a reading from all these psychics.
Yeah.
So she invited all these psychics and mediums to her home.
Yeah.
Every single one of them all gave her a future, a prediction
Okay.
that was good. It was like positive,
Yeah.
except for my mother's aunt. So when she gave her reading, she told her, I can foresee there's going to be like a civil war and a revolution.
Yeah.
And obviously the first lady, she didn't want to hear that shit. Everybody else, like all of the people that did like the reading,
Yeah.
they were given like a Rolex or some shit.
Oh, what the
But for her, because she was negative, she didn't give her anything. But little did she know, it came true.
I really would like to know exactly the names of these people because I would like to fact check this. Otherwise, I really have no clue if this is true or not. And I could not imagine going somewhere where they give people Rolexes and you end up not getting anything. That would be very distasteful. Whether it was negative news or not, you wanted a psychic and the psychic gave you their psychic abilities. But I think I might call cap on this story. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. For everyone that's currently watching and or subscribed, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel.
This is proof that mountains are not real.
So this might come as a surprise to many of you guys, but yes, it is possible for some mountains to be fake. This is an old TikTok that just recently got reposted. A bunch of you tagged me in it, and in it we can see the caption, "Mountains are not real," and we see this realistic looking mountain with a split down the middle. The cameraman then walks in, and we can see a bunch of support beams, so clearly it's not a real mountain. Well, believe it or not, artificial mountains do exist. And this is no secret. More often than not, it's the result of industrialization and the excessive dumping of waste products that eventually pile up into a mountain. And in the future, we might even see these mountains built intentionally as a wildlife refuge, for example, like the one proposed in Germany. I'm not exactly sure the purpose of this fake structure, but honestly, it's probably a factory of some kind meant to be obscured from the public, or a movie set, for example. Either way, this video makes it read like all mountains are fake. Obviously, that's not the case, but there are some fake mountains.
This right here is a really good indication that there's probably so many fake mountains out there that we just don't even know. I don't see anything. I'm not really seeing it in here. Let me know in the comments if you see anything.
The menu gate. Have you heard of that?
Menu gate?
This is weird. This man, his name is Cody, lives in Atlanta. He walked out of his apartment and noticed every single door in his hallway had a Chinese menu. 3 days later, still there. And he's like, what in the world? 3 days, everyone in my hall has not opened their door. And then 5 days, still there. So he went down to the parking garage and looked at the cars, covered in dust. And he's like, that's weird. And then he's like, okay, this is like freaking me out a little bit. Went through his whole apartment building, couldn't find a fire alarm. Finally, like, went down like one weird hallway or whatever, found one. He's like, I need to know. Pulls it. There's supposed to be 800 people living in this apartment building. No one came out.
Because he had previously checked. He'd gone outside at night and there were lights on.
Yeah. He went out into his local nook where his apartment was. Every like coffee shop and place that he went to, there was always one man in there wearing a suit talking on the phone. He said these men were all saying the same thing into the phone. And he's just like, am I living in a simulation? What is this?
I have a weird video to share with you today, and this actually comes from an unidentified person who needs help in identifying whatever this creature is. Now, this is what they stated. I was trying to look at pictures and videos online to figure out what creature this was, but couldn't figure it out. I was outside and heard faint noises. The best I could describe was like giggling or something that I thought had to be a coyote. I look over and I see a gray little figure running around, and I thought it must have been something in my eye. But then I see it run up the tree. At first I thought it was my cat, but it was acting very weird, the way it moved and looked at me. I quickly ran in the house, and that's when I saw my cat laying in his bed. And what I thought was really weird is the eyes were really bright and reflected like a red. They were close together, almost like a monkey, but we don't have something like that in this part of the world.
Could be a raccoon.
So take a look at this footage and tell me what you think this could be, because they have no idea what the heck was watching them.
Eyes are super duper reflective, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, that would be kind of creepy, I guess, especially if you didn't get to see what it was firsthand. But overall, I would be considering it to be probably a raccoon. That would be my guess. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
So let me ask you something. How in the world are we having wildfires, hundreds of acres of wildfires in March in South Carolina? And don't you dare come on here telling me it's normal and it always happens. As far as I'm concerned, and I live here, we never have wildfires here.
Not like
and
that.
It's not even hot. But I was talking about how weird the sun was earlier, and I even showed you how someone got completely burnt because of the sun. Oh, but it's unrelated completely. But even crazier, there's literally 200 separate fires going around South Carolina right now just today. Starting right here. Weird how it starts in Carolina Forest. It seems like wildfires are becoming increasingly prevalent to places that normally don't get wildfires. Yes, we don't usually get wildfires here in South Carolina, especially not by the beach. I mean, y'all, this is freaking insane. When I first saw this picture, I thought it was California. I thought it was LA still going on. Which, by the way, I think it is. Did I tell you none of the fires are contained at all? None? So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I wonder why this would be happening. No idea.
We did just have a weather report the other day, like almost a week ago, saying, excuse me. Whew. Almost died there for a second. We did have on the news the other day, about a week ago, like I was saying, there was weather alerts saying be careful with fire, putting out your cigarettes, things like that because of high winds and how dry it is. And then the next thing you know, we have these fires happening. All I can really say for everyone out there that has to go through this, if you're really close to these fires, I wish the best of luck for you. I hope nothing goes wrong, and I hope that everything can get resolved quickly, because it is pretty crazy that there's that many wildfires happening right now.
The time has come, and this just got 100 times crazier than you could ever imagine. We all know who this guy is. He's been in the headlines a lot. Just over a year ago, the flight logs got revealed, which showed a lot of very notable people that you all know who went to the island. Now, you probably also know what's been happening since the start of this year, since Trump got in. They of course announced they would declassify all of the Epstein files and release them to the public. All of them. This lady, Pam Bondi, is the Attorney General, and she was kind of controlling this, making sure it all got released. Now, yesterday you might have seen the files did get released, but there wasn't much there. There was a few bits of evidence for kind of what they already knew, some chat logs, some disturbing photos, but that was about it. Now, she ordered the FBI to declassify all of the files. There would be thousands and thousands of pages, but they only sent 20. Now said she knows for certain there are at least 1,000 pages that somehow the FBI didn't declassify and send out when requested. Here's where it gets crazy though, because apparently the FBI didn't know about this, but someone did. Interestingly, the ones that came out, she named Phase 1 instead of all of it because there's going to be a lot more now, but we don't know where or when, so I'm sure a lot more is going to come out soon, but I'll keep you posted.
I swear, this is almost all for entertainment. It has to be. There's no way that someone could have done so many cruel things and that there could be so many people out there that has had their hands in those things. And we don't just release this information. Like, this is very important information to help justify people's lives, to cause justice for people that deserve it. But we keep delaying it and keep pushing it out to where we just give little bits and pieces, and it's almost the same information over and over again. It's almost like they just are treating it as a television show at this point. That can't be right. It just seems like they're trying to keep it from being pushed out so that it just eventually does get forgotten about. And that's pretty crazy to me.
Oh, you're gonna love this one, the shampoo conspiracy. Something that you use every day, but do you know who's really behind it and what it's really doing to you? Disclaimer, the ideas presented here are not theories. They're all verifiable facts. So you go over to your local grocery store to do some shopping and you realize you haven't washed your hair in over a month. It's time to clean up. You head to the shampoo aisle and you're met with dozens, maybe even over 100 different options to choose from. Quite the variety, right? Surely you can find a brand that's right for you. Well, my friend, what if I told you that 90% of these shampoos are all owned by the same 3 to 4 mega corporations, all of which have one common top shareholder? This is the shadow shampoo oligopoly, and they're all kind of working against you together. So here are the top 20 or so most popular shampoo brands in America, and they're all owned, or at least partially owned, by these 4 mega corporations. But there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, these companies are worth hundreds of billions of dollars, so they definitely must put the customer first, right? Oh, my starry-eyed little friend, let me introduce you to a very simple business practice called going public. So when you start a company, you begin as what we call a small business, a little family-owned mom and pop shop that brings some sort of product or service into the world. As you grow, you hire more people, make more money, and produce more incredible products or services to your customers. Now, I'm gonna dumb this down a lot, as there's so much more that goes into this, but I won't bore you with the details. This ain't a business course. But to keep it very simple, eventually most companies who want to make it big hit a wall, where they're not able to grow more because they lack the money required to invest in that next big thing for their business, whether it be more employees, more inventory, new equipment, bigger advertising budgets, etc. So they take out loans, look for sponsors, investors, and venture capitalists to get that money. But sometimes even that's not enough. So in order to get a lot of money really fast, they go public through an IPO, an initial public offering, which basically means their company is now going to be traded on the stock market. Now, being on the stock market means you no longer fully own your own business anymore. You're trading small percentage ownerships in your business called shares to the public in exchange for cash. If that company proceeds to grow and make more money, the value of its shares go up, and the people who bought them make a profit, either through dividends or selling the shares. Now, both people and other companies can invest in publicly traded businesses by buying their shares on the stock market and are called the shareholders. So you gotta realize these companies that go public sort of now have 2 different categories of customers they have to serve. They have the consumers who actually buy their products or services, and now they also have the shareholders who have sort of become customers of the company as well. You following me so far? Now here is where it gets interesting. The regular Joe Schmo shareholders like you and I don't really make much of an impact from our couple $1,000 or whatever that we invest in these companies. What happens is giant investment conglomerates invest hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars into these companies. Investment firms like BlackRock and Vanguard, who sort of become these super mega customers of the companies they invest in. And these companies companies must now do something called please the shareholder, or else these giant investment firms pull their funding these companies now rely on and put them out of business. Pleasing the shareholder usually means the company now has to get their consumers, that other group of customers they have that actually buy their products, to buy their products or services as often as possible, so they can increase how much their company is worth, known as market cap, by whatever means it takes. Sometimes even to the ultimate detriment of the consumer, so the shareholders stay happy and keep their money in the company. Stock market 101 for dummies. So we went a little bit off the rails just now. Let's dial it back. Oh yes, the shampoo cabal, the 4 megacorps that basically own almost every shampoo product ever, all of which are of course publicly traded companies on the stock market. Let's see who the top shareholders of these companies are, shall we? Procter & Gamble. Oh, look at that. Vanguard. Unilever. Yup, that's Vanguard. And Johnson & Johnson. Well, what do you know? Vanguard. Meaning these companies' top customer isn't the person using their shampoo, but rather $1 trillion investment conglomerate who by definition is literally only concerned with profit. L'Oreal is actually pretty well balanced and are still technically majority family owned by, of course, a $1 billion family, the Betancourts. But you can see their top shareholders are also big investment firms, and oh look, there's Vanguard again. Now, we're not done yet, because pretty much all these companies have all been involved in major lawsuits due to their shampoos making people's hair fall out, drying out their skin, damaging their hair, and many other reasons. Class action lawsuits that they've resolved through settlements, meaning they basically admitted, yeah, our bad, our shampoo might have done that, so here's some money. But wait just a minute, if their shampoo makes people's hair fall out, doesn't that mean they're gonna stop buying shampoo because they're not gonna have any hair to wash anymore? Well, these same companies also make all the products that allegedly make your hair grow back, hydrates dry scalps, and fixes damaged hair. Nioxin, Procter & Gamble, Rogaine, Johnson & Johnson, you get the drill. Products that are inherently more expensive due to their medical properties and that the consumer will have to buy more often to benefit from its effects. Welcome to pleasing the shareholder. Now, I'm not saying that every publicly traded company is this evil mega corporation that feeds on your soul, but I can tell you, if any of these companies ever have the option between getting a consumer to buy something once in a while versus forcing a consumer to buy a much more expensive product all the time, you can bet they're choosing that one. And just apply this logic to what happened in 2020 and 2021 and you'll start to notice something. Okay, I'm gonna stop now before I get in trouble. But huge shout out to this legend, Ian Carroll, for bringing this to light. He's the one I learned this from, so definitely him if you want to learn more. At the end of the day, remember to shop local and support small businesses, because those are the ones that really do have your back.
You ever set an iPhone alarm and it just not go off in the morning and then you oversleep for school or work?
I have done
Well, it's
that.
actually a reason and people are losing their minds. This has probably happened to you at some point. You've set an alarm in the evening, you like double check to make sure it is actually set and your volume's up. You wake up in the morning and the alarm didn't go off. You just sit there questioning yourself like, I swear I set it, it's literally on, why did it not go off? Well, the thing is it actually did, but Apple changed a setting to basically make you oversleep. Much everyone didn't know about this, although this update has been out for a very long time, and is most definitely the reason why you just overslept suddenly and it's like, but my alarm didn't go off. Essentially, it's this new setting called Attention Aware, which you can see here. What Attention Aware does is lower the volume of alerts if it detects you're not looking at your phone. Which is probably one of the most stupid things I've ever heard, because you're asleep, mate, why the hell would you be looking at your flipping phone? Whatever reason though, they did this, and it means that if your alarm goes off in the morning and you have this setting on, it will gradually lower in volume so that it will just go off eventually. Meaning, you oversleep and it doesn't seem like your alarm's gone off. You go into settings and literally just type in Attention Aware, it will come up with this area and then you can turn it off, or you can go into the clock settings and it will be there as well. So yeah, just make sure you share this video with someone who always oversleeps.
This has happened to me a couple of times, but it wasn't due to the volume lowering. My alarms just never went off. I was actually hoping to see if there was a reason for that, because that's happened to me a few times, and I definitely do not sleep through them. That's why it's always, I guess that's why it's always a better idea to have a physical clock, so you can just keep that thing on wind.
Everyone needs to know what is happening in Greece right now. The country has literally come to a standstill after hundreds of thousands of people from every sector have taken to the streets to demand justice for the country's deadliest ever train crash. All flights in the country have been grounded after air traffic controllers have joined the doctors, lawyers, teachers, train drivers, boat drivers, and 325,000 others across the country in a 24-hour general strike. You see, 2 years ago today, a passenger train filled with students collided with a freight train 57 people. Polls indicate that 72% of Greeks believe that the government is involved in a cover-up of evidence, suggesting insufficient safety measures. And they're mad because 2 years later, investigations are still not finished. No one has been convicted, and a separate inquiry found on Thursday that the safety gaps that caused the train crash have still not been filled. And this is despite 82% of Greeks saying that the train disaster was one of, or the most important issue in the country. The government has denied allegations of a cover-up, and their prime minister has dismissed calls to resign, accusing critics of attempting to destabilize the country. As always, as things develop, I'll keep you guys updated.
Wow, I had no clue anything like that was going down in Greece. I am really sorry for anyone that's lost their loved ones or family members or anyone that they've known during that incident. And if you're out there protesting, please be careful out there. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video here. As always, I want to thank everyone for stopping by, and I would like to thank you guys for leaving the get well soon comments in my last video for me getting over the flu. So thank you guys for being super supportive. With that being said, I also did create a video on my second channel, basically about me talking about Stephen Greer or Dr. Greer. So if anyone's interested in that, click the link in the channel description, it'll take you to that video. Now that video is about me talking about Dr. Greer and my disbeliefs in him, so it might not be for you if you're a big fan of Dr. Greer. But nonetheless, if you want to hear what I have to say, it's out there. So once again, I want to say thank you guys for stopping by and watching, and with that being said, have a good day.